Today I want to talk to you about why you should be doing things that don't scale at first in your business. So scalable means you could do it repetitive over and over again. You could do it for one person. You could do it for 1 million people. So what does it mean to do the things that don't scale? It means to do something that you personally do that is provocatively manual and doesn't rely on any complex processes that would work on a large scale. These are the little things that we do that make the big difference early on in a company. So let me give you some examples of this. So let's take DoorDash, for example. You all know DoorDash, it's the food delivery service. Well, you would think that in order to get DoorDash off the ground, what would you need? Well, you'd need a mobile app, of course. You'd need relationships with all of the different food vendors out there that were in the city so that you had a large selection. You'd need to recruit delivery drivers. You need to have a split set up and understand how all of that worked. And you need all of this infrastructure built. But that's not how they started out. They started out with a little website. They started out manually adding the food into the website from all of these different vendors. And then when an order would come through, on the off chance that they managed to get somebody to come to their website and order food from them, one of the founders of the company would get in the car, drive to the store, pick up the food, and take it to a person's house. That's how it started out. Not a single delivery driver, no mobile application, none of that. Just a bunch of founders scrambling to fill a Taco Bell order when that thing managed to come through on their website. Now, what are the incredible things that we learn, too, when we take that type of ground floor, in the dirt, in the muck sort of approach to entrepreneurship? Well, you get to learn as that delivery driver, what are the stresses and frustrations the delivery driver has? What are the frustrations that the business owners have? You also get to know the business owners, too, don't you, as the owner? You're going around picking up the food. You're talking to people, building the relationships there. You're not relying on some low-level employee to be going out and doing those things. You're getting to meet with the customers and find out what they love, what they would really like more of. It is a level of understanding of your business that you will never have again. Because the truth of the matter is, as the business grows, you won't be able to do those things anymore. Let's talk about Reddit. Massively successful platform for just about every conceivable concept imaginable. But how do you scale a business like that? How do you grow something like that? Well, if you were going to do it in the modern era with venture capital money, here's what you'd probably do. You'd hire a team of people. You'd have a whole bunch of subreddits and Reddits already designed and laid out. You would have contributors who you had hired or who were supporting it, who were already putting content on the network. So day one, when you launched it, there would already be stuff there for people to talk about. You'd hire yourself some high-level influencers to go and tweet about what it is and to start sharing links from different Reddit accounts. And boom, you'd have this huge launch of your product. But that's not how they did it at all. See, at the very beginning, the owners of Reddit had no posts, no nothing, no links, nothing. But they wanted to start getting content out there. And so what they did was they built themselves a little widget, because they're somewhat computer savvy, that not only allowed them to post a link out onto other social media sites, but also allowed them to change the username. So these two founders of Reddit sat down every single day and scheduled all the posts and all the links and all the content to go out on their own under different usernames. And they did it for weeks and months until finally one day they woke up, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's one of the founders. He woke up and he realized he had forgotten to post all of his links out, and he thought he was going to go to Reddit and just have there'd be nobody there. But it turns out he had 20 or 30 people who had sort of adopted the platform and were now using it to share information, and so they had kind of taken over. And that was when he kind of realized, oh, man, this thing might actually work for me. Let's talk about Airbnb. What we would consider a unicorn company, one that you once in a lifetime you might be able to see an Airbnb or an Uber become what it is. The original idea for Airbnb were people setting up air mattresses in their living room so strangers could sleep there. That was the original idea. Not rent out your home, not buy a property or rent your vacation home out. It was literally, hey, people are coming into town. They need a place to stay. If you have a spare room or you're willing to blow up an air mattress, people could sleep there. And they shopped this thing around. They went to a bunch of different people and showed it to them. And they said that, I think that when I read about it, they said they shopped it to like 10 venture capital firms. 5 of them gave them an audience or agreed to have coffee with them. Nobody invested in it. They said, we think this is the stupidest idea ever. Nobody is going to want to go to someone's stranger's house and sleep on an air mattress rather than going to a hotel. And finally, they got one guy to kind of take an interest in them. And he took a look at where they were at what they were doing. He said, well, who's your market? Who are you marketing to? Who's the ideal person for this? And they admitted at the time, we don't have any idea. Now just think about that for a minute. Airbnb, the owners of Airbnb, what would become the largest and one of the most successful businesses in history, had no idea years into trying to grow the business who their ideal prospect was. But here's the thing. They did have about 20 users of Airbnb that had listed their homes in New York City, their apartments. And they noticed that the pictures on the website were not the greatest, that they really didn't do a good job of that. And they said, you know what? We can take a pretty good picture though. And this is where our people are. We got 20 of them. So what we need to do is we need to go to New York City. We need to meet with these people and we need to take the pictures for their homes. Now think about that for a minute. In no way, shape, or form does that scale. As the business begins to grow, there's no way that Airbnb can go to every single person's home and take pictures of their house. But here's what did happen. They went to New York City and they met with the owners of those homes and they took really high quality pictures. And they talked with the homeowners and apartment owners. And they talked about, and they learned what they liked and what they didn't like, about what they should be doing different. And they posted those really high quality pictures on their website. And slowly but surely, more listings began to show up because it looked like a quality site. And wouldn't you know it? People looked at the other images that were on the website and they said, hey, you know what? If I want my house to be able to be listed and I want people to come and rent my apartment or my spare room, I better have some high quality pictures on there. I better be able to really showcase that I live in a nice place and that they're not going to show up and some squirrely dude is going to be standing over them while they're sleeping. And so the quality of the product improved as well. I told this story before. I built my first website I built while in Afghanistan on a dial-up connection. I learned how to code HTML and CSS of that website manually. It took me, I don't even know how many, hundreds of hours to learn how to do that. For the first couple of years in the business, I handled every support email. I did 100% of the selling. I managed 100% of our administrative and our finances. Things that I will admit to you, I am not good at. I am terrible at, other than the selling part, I'm bad at all of the rest of that. But I did it. And I remember as the company began to grow and I hired Darren and then I hired a guy, Daryl, and I hired someone to handle the bookkeeping for me. And I realized a few years later that I don't know how this stuff is done anymore. And I realized, man, I am no longer the very best at all of the stuff that we do here. I don't have the same understanding of the business and how it works that I did before. But if I hadn't done all of that stuff in the beginning, if I hadn't done the things that don't scale when we started, I would have never been able to grow the company to a point where I could hire those people and get it going. Sometimes the most important things in your business are things that can't be measured. I'll give you an example of this. The depth of a relationship that you have with your customer. There's no way that that can be measured. The value of a single Instagram post can't be measured. Very, very difficult. You might be able to try and find, oh yeah, they clicked on the link. This is how much traffic is coming from Instagram. This is how many posts I did. So it can extrapolate out. But what was the value of that one Instagram post? Can't measure that. A personal phone call to someone who just purchased a product from you and just saying, hey, how are you? Thanks so much for buying my thing. And can I ask you a couple of questions that'll help me be better? What made you want to buy it? How'd you find out about us? Oh, yeah? Well, what could we be doing better? What else would you like to see us doing? Right now, 9 times out of 100, they're not going to give you an answer that's really going to be that valuable because they won't really know. They won't have thought about it. But when they hang up their phone, they're going to be like, holy smokes. I just bought a $30 product from this person and the owner called me on the phone trying to get a feel for what's going on. Can't measure the value of that. Can't measure the value of knowing intimately the people that you serve. You got to do the things in your business that don't scale. So as much as that can suck, I'd just encourage you to really relish that time and to recognize that if the business becomes successful the way most of us want it to be, that there's going to come a point when you won't be able to do those things anymore. And you're going to have to put your trust and faith in other people that they're doing those things and that they're keeping track of their little piece of your business. This is the one time that you will know intimately the people that you're serving and the business that you're running.